This is the culmination of over 10,000 individual parts over 11 months to put it all together, handcrafted, 200 people working to build about 5 pianos a day. Steinway artists, very important. We have about 2,000 of them worldwide. Billy Joel and Harry Connick and Lang Lang, Yuzha Wang in the classical world. We have jazz greats, pop greats, all the genres that you can think of. You know, Steinway came to Queens very early in our history. This area of Astoria is, you'll see it sometimes on maps or just referred to as the Steinway area of Astoria. We used to own all of the land from here to LaGuardia Airport and down to Ditmars Boulevard. We had, 400 acres. We built the first houses in this area. Those row houses that we built for our employees at first, but then other people moved in. We built a school, a church, a library that's still part of the New York City library system. I think we've been important to Queens, and Queens has been important to us. We were founded by a German immigrant. It was Heinrich Steinway. They later anglicized to Henry E. Steinway. They didn't need to learn how to build pianos. They had actually done that in Germany and were quite good at it. So they took the craft with them. They founded Steinway & Sons in 1853. There was a piano maker down the block, one on the block after that. There was a huge amount of competition. So that drove innovation. And the Steinways were very good at it. They were very good at innovating the piano. And that's how they quickly made a name for themselves. And then eventually, by the late 1860s, they were looking to move again. At the time, there was a lot of problems in the city. If you've seen the movie Gangs of New York, the draft riots and different things around the time of the Civil War. So they bought a lot of land in Queens, over 400 acres they owned at one point, and they built the factory here. In the 1950s, we shut down the Ditmars facility. Everything consolidated here. So if you buy an older Steinway, it would have been started, this factory that we're in today, and finished down on Ditmars. If it was from the late 50s or later, more recent, it would have been started and completed in this same factory.
Weapons of war poured out of these factories, tanks to meet tanks, and planes to meet planes.
There was some periods during World War II where they stopped production. Metals were rationed, you weren't able to build pianos. But one of the things the Steinways did, they got contracts from the government. We built parts of gliders. These are wooden gliders that were used on D-Day when you don't have friendly runways. On a more somber note, they built coffins here. On a more uplifting note, we built pianos for the war effort. These were called the Victory Vertical or GI piano. This is one example of one that we've restored on the outside. It's a bit dusty, but looks good. So these were designed specifically for the war effort. They don't have casters. They weren't meant to be rolled around on smooth floors. They don't have things like legs that would break easily. They were a bit lighter, so they could be carried by 4 soldiers around the battlefield. They were shipped in crates, which could be airdropped. We weren't able to use copper. Normally, the bass strings in a piano are steel wound with copper. They had to use a different metal to wind the strings with. Also treated with insecticides, treated for moisture, things like that. The crate matched the color of the piano. It came with a tuning kit, and it came with the popular sheet music of the day. So this would land to say, can anyone tune a piano? Have at it. Who can play? Back then, a lot of people could. And if you couldn't play, you could gather around and sing. We have letters from soldiers at the time. One of them was the last letter that his mother had received, and it said, this war is hell, everything is terrible, but last night we gathered around the Steinway and all sang, and it was like we were at home again. And it's stories like that that kind of the power of music and how it can uplift people and kind of overcome, at least for a moment, some of the things that people go through. what you see in this room, 5 pianos, that's about our output per day, 5 pianos. So all of that work goes into it. This is the end product, has the soundboard, everything, the coating, beautiful, it's been polished, the side logo. These are all Model Bs, our second largest piano. They're in a selection room because these are handcrafted instruments. They all sound great, but they have very different personalities. So depending on your personal taste, what type of music you're going to be playing, and also importantly, where the piano is going. Is it going in a big concert hall? Is it going in an intimate room? All of that is considered when someone comes for a selection. People ask, well, they say it's very expensive building pianos in New York. Why haven't you gone and built them somewhere where it's less expensive? And the main thing is that workmanship element, the people. We have people with many decades of experience, many people 10, 20, 30, 40 years with Steinway. And that knowledge and know-how is so important because you can have a lot of books with patents in them and diagrams and designs, but unless you have the people who know how to turn those designs into this, you're not going to have that magic. So all 3 of those elements are important in giving us this great Steinway sound that we're known for and the longevity of the pianos that last for generations. They really do.